Join me as I take on the challenge of losing weight without starving myself. Let's see if I can do it while still enjoying my favorite foods. I have to admit I've tried every diet under the sun, and I'm sure you have too. The problem is, they never seem to stick. We end up feeling deprived, and before we know it, we're back to our old habits. But what if I told you there's a better way? You can lose weight without starving yourself, and I'm here to show you how. The key is to focus on making sustainable lifestyle changes rather than trying to follow some fad diet. It's about finding a balance that works for you, and that means enjoying the foods you love in moderation. I'm not talking about giving up your favorite treats, but about being mindful of your choices and making healthier decisions most of the time. So, let's get started on this journey together and see what we can achieve. I'm excited to share my own experiences with you and to learn from yours as well. For a long time, we've been led to believe that losing weight means eating as little as possible. We've been told to cut out entire food groups, to count every calorie, to avoid anything that's even remotely unhealthy. But the truth is, this approach just doesn't work. Not only does it lead to nutrient deficiencies and a host of other health problems, but it's also completely unsustainable. Think about it. If you're constantly feeling deprived, you're going to crave those forbidden foods even more. When you finally give in, you'll likely end up overindulging, which can lead to feelings of guilt and shame. It's a vicious cycle, and it's one that we need to break. The problem with extreme dieting is that it's not just about the food, it's about our relationship with food and with our bodies. When we restrict ourselves to the point of starvation, we're not just depriving ourselves of nutrients, we're also depriving ourselves of pleasure and enjoyment. And that's not healthy. I know it can be tempting to try the latest quick fix, but trust me, it's just not worth it. Not only will you likely end up gaining back any weight you lost, but you'll also be putting your health at risk. So, what's the alternative? The truth is, our bodies are designed to thrive when we eat a balanced diet that includes a variety of whole foods. We need a mix of protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates to function at our best. And we need to listen to our bodies, rather than following some arbitrary set of rules. When we eat intuitively, we're more likely to feel satisfied and content rather than stuffed or deprived. We're also more likely to make healthier choices, simply because they feel good. And that's the key to sustainable weight loss. Not just about the food, though. It's also about our mental health. When we're stressed, anxious, or depressed, we often turn to food as a way to cope. And that's okay. But it's also important to find healthier ways to manage our emotions. Self-acceptance is also crucial. When we love and accept ourselves just as we are, we're more likely to make choices that nourish our bodies and souls. We're less likely to try to change ourselves to fit someone else's ideal, and more likely to focus on our own health and happiness. So what can we do instead? For starters, we can focus on adding more whole foods to our diets rather than cutting things out. We can try new recipes, explore new flavors, and find healthy ways to indulge. We can also work on our mental health by finding stress-reducing activities that bring us joy. One of the simplest and most effective strategies is to practice portion control. By eating smaller, more balanced meals, we can satisfy our hunger and support our health without feeling deprived. We can also try to incorporate more nutrient-dense foods into our diets, such as fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Another key strategy is to pay attention to our hunger and fullness cues. When we're hungry, we eat. When we're full, we stop. It's simple, but it's also incredibly effective. By tuning into our bodies, we can avoid overeating and develop a healthier relationship with food. Incorporating mindful eating into our daily lives can also make a big difference. By paying attention to the flavors, textures, and aromas of our food, we can enjoy our meals more and feel more satisfied. We can also try to eat more slowly, savoring each bite and enjoying the experience. Understanding our emotional triggers is also crucial. When we know what drives our eating habits, we can develop healthier coping mechanisms and make more informed choices. We can also work on building a positive body image by focusing on our strengths and accomplishments. Here's a key insight that can change everything. It's not just about the food. It's about our relationship with food. When we view food as a source of nourishment rather than a source of comfort or stress relief, we're more likely to make healthy choices. We can also try to reframe our thinking around food by focusing on the positive aspects of eating. For example, we can try to view meals as opportunities to connect with others, rather than just fuel our bodies. We can also try to find joy in the process of cooking and preparing meals, rather than just focusing on the end result. One tip that can make a big difference is to keep a food diary. By tracking our eating habits, we can identify patterns and triggers and make more informed choices. We can also try to plan our meals in advance to ensure that we're getting the nutrients we need. Another strategy is to find healthy ways to cope with stress and emotions. By finding alternative coping mechanisms, such as exercise, meditation, or talking to a friend, we can avoid turning to food for comfort. We can also try to prioritize self-care by taking time for ourselves and engaging in activities that bring us joy. To sum it up, losing weight without starving yourself is not just possible, it's also sustainable. By focusing on whole foods, portion control, and mindful eating, we can nourish our bodies and satisfy our hunger. We can also work on our mental health by finding healthy ways to cope with stress and emotions.